Welcome back, fellow milk drinkers, to yet another Monday Milk Review. My name is Jacob, and today we're going to be looking at something a little bit unorthodox. This right here, it doesn't, actually I don't know its name properly, because it's a Korean sparkling milk. Carbonated milk, that's correct. Now, to some people, this isn't an entirely foreign concept, because other drinks such as Calpis and Milkus exist. Milkus, I don't know if is a stupid name, but I don't know if that's a common one, but a lot of people would have heard of Calpis before. As this is a product of Korea, there is very little information I can actually glean from its packaging, but its one standout feature has got to be that design. I love the little, can you call them cow spots? I feel like that's what they're supposed to be called. The little patches of black making it look like a cow. I freaking love this design, man. It's so cute. It's also a really rigid plastic. It's so annoying when you have a really flimsy bottle to hold a liquid. So Korea's definitely getting points on this one. But before we steam ahead right into the review, I just wanted to say that the results of the poll came back, and you guys really wanted me to split up the prize from the grand prize that went unclaimed between two runners up. So those runners are as follows. These two people. Check your emails if you are one of those two people. In regards to the future of this channel, I've read a lot of the comments on the last video, and I'm really proud to see so much, honestly, like, love and support from the community. Like, you guys are awesome. It always surprises me how supportive people on the internet are. A lot of you have never met me in real life, but you guys are here for every episode. There's a few names that will know I'm talking about them, that I see them on every video, and there's people who don't comment every time, but I know they're watching every video. But anyway, let's just get back to this milk before I get too emotional about the support you guys show me. I am a Cancer after all. Without any dilly-dallying, let's just open this straight on up. There's a tiny little bit of a fizz, and as I said earlier, a very rigid bottle. I love that quite a lot. Let's get a sniff. Oh, okay. This reminds me, it smells a lot like condensed milk. I'm reminded very heavily of the Hot Kid lollies. There's a Hot Kid milk, which I've tried and I didn't really like, but I tried the actual hard candy. Well, they're kind of... They're a candy. I tried them and they're quite nice. I like them. This smells a lot like those. For the Westerners, you might want to think of the Milkos. It smells quite a lot like a Milko, but I would specify that this smells more like the Asian variant of a Milko, which I believe is called either White Rabbit or Hot Kid. Those are two brands that I know of. But let's get this into a glass so you can see what it looks like. A very, very cloudy white mixture. I'm not really seeing too much carbonation from that pour. This is sparkling milk, so there's a tiny bit of carbonation that I can see on the walls of the glass through the means of very small bubbles, but I didn't see much of a fizz when I actually poured it, so if that's any indication, this may not be carbonated like we usually know it to be. When I think of a carbonated drink, I would think of something like Coke or Fanta, and as you pour it in, it's going to be bubbling up quite a lot. This one's bubbling slowly, but not too much. Getting a sniff from the glass now. When you put it into the glass, it loses a lot of its potency. There's something about the container that always traps in that flavor, and I think you can get a more accurate representation of what the real odor of the drink is once you remove it from its container. Weirdly enough, even though I made the distinction that it smells more like the Asian variants rather than the Milkos, I would say it now smells a little bit more like the Milko than it does the Asian variants. Let's get into the taste test and see what it's like. Okay, that's weird. Okay, it's so strange. The bubbles catch me off guard so much. This has definitely happened before because I've reviewed, I believe, Milkus. I've reviewed Milkus in my first season of doing the reviews in the car. I'm sure there's going to be some people who drink beverages like this all the time and they'll be like, get over it, it's just bubbles. Oops. But to me, this is a super strange experience. There's just like a taste of carbonation that you can detect. Maybe it's more so a mouthfeel than it is a taste. You know, honestly, it's not terrible. I kinda like it. I definitely wouldn't start drinking this regularly, but I can see why people like it. Admittedly, I don't really like the hot kid drink very much. Even though I like the candy, I'm interested by it, but I don't particularly like it. There's this very strange, I could only describe as zestiness to it, and I think that's what I usually describe as the carbonation taste. It's not bitter, it's not sweet. Zesty, I think, is the perfect word for it. The big issue with these foreign drinks is that I just don't have the right palate to fully appreciate them. My taste buds are absolutely not used to this kind of flavor, and it's very weird. It becomes harder and harder to drink as I realize that I am not familiar with this taste whatsoever. With that being said, I don't think this is a drink that I'm going to finish. I really enjoyed it at first, but as soon as I start getting a few mouthfuls in, it screams and has a lot of presence about it. When you're sipping it, it demands your attention. It doesn't feel like something that you can casually drink because it just absolutely announces itself with that carbonation. I think a lot of drinks feel complementary to meals. This one doesn't feel like it would complement any meal whatsoever. It's just because of my own experience with this drink. I have no frame of reference. It feels like it's just such a loud drink that I can't even imagine it alongside something else. You could absolutely say the same for literally every other drink if you've never had it before, like a Fanta, a really, really powerful orange soda. How are you supposed to pair that with anything? But with constant exposure, you realize that it can be quite a neutral drink when you're eating it with the right foods, or drinking it with the right foods. You'd eat food, drink, wouldn't you? So due to my own limitation with frame of reference, I'm only gonna give this one a 4 out of 10. I can't really stomach it because it's just too loud for me. I think it's a nice example of this flavor, but if you're like me and you don't really like this flavor, I don't think you're going to enjoy it. Regardless of the content of the drink, I still love the outer design. This thing is absolutely adorable. But that about wraps us up for this week's episode of the Monday Milk Review. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, be sure to like and maybe even consider subscribing if you want to keep up to date with all my latest episodes. Thank you once again, and I'll see you next week in the Monday Milk Review. Bye bye.